So this one now will lead to something important that I will always make reference to. That, I mean, this first one. So if absolute value of x is equal to absolute value of minus x, so if I go to the next board, so if we have absolute value of x minus 7, for instance, it is the same thing as absolute value of minus of x minus 7. And what is the negative of x minus 7? It is equals to 7 minus x. Okay, so these and these are the same. So if I see a question where it is given as absolute value of 7 minus x, for convenience sake, I would, that is my own style anyway, so if you don't change, it doesn't mean you won't get the answer. But for convenience sake, it makes things, I don't know, it makes things more clear to me. It makes things clearer. So I will change to absolute value of x minus 7. Okay, so because we know that they are equal. Are you with me? We know that they are equal. Okay, and you should also, another property of absolute value, from those of you in mathematics, I mean almost all of us here, we will still come across these things in a higher class, on 200 level, 300 level. Okay, absolute value of x times absolute value of y is equal to absolute value of xy. That one today. But absolute value of x plus y is not just equal to absolute value of x plus absolute value of y. There's something we call triangle inequality. But that is not what we are here to look at today. So we are now going to go into the question of the day. So first and foremost, when we have something like x minus 2 less than 5, for instance, we all know that this is a single inequality question. We know that what we do here is just to say either x minus 2, that is positive, less than 5, or x minus 2 is less than 5. Okay, so considering whether x minus 2 is positive or whether x minus 2 is negative. Okay, so this this is because of the property of absolute value function. Okay, so but this is not what we are talking about. In this special case that we are dealing with, there are two modulus functions. Okay, and another thing you should note, if there are two modulus functions and there is just a constant, so if I have x plus 2, what is that? So x plus 2 less than maybe 3 minus x. For this one, I can still square both sides, because I know that squaring both sides will remove the absolute value case. Okay, I want everybody to be careful. When a is less than b, you don't just go ahead and say square both sides. There is a condition to which we can square both sides of a quadratic inequality, of an inequality. Okay, and the condition is simple. What you want to square, both of them has to be greater than 0. If it is less than 0 or 0, then it is nonsense. Okay, so you can only square both sides of an inequality when you are sure that those two things are positive. Okay, why is it so? If 3 is less than 5, there is no problem if I square both sides, because it is still going to make sense. 9 is less than 25. But if I have minus 2 less than minus 1, this is true, isn't it? Minus 2 is actually less than minus 1. But if I square both sides, would it still remain true? No, because this one is 4, this one is 1, and 4 is not less than 1. So we don't just jump into squaring both sides when we have inequality questions. We must first and foremost ascertain that they are both positive on either side, and that is why we can go ahead and square for a case like this. We can square because we know that an absolute value function is always a positive function. You cannot get anything negative. So it is okay for us to square in a case like this. Okay, but in a case where you now have an iota of doubt, whether it is going to be positive or negative. For instance, if you now have x plus 2 then is less than maybe 2 minus absolute value of 3 minus x. If you have something like this, please do not square both sides, okay? Because you do not know whether this guy here is positive or not. Because if what we have inside this place is positive and is bigger than 2, this whole thing will become negative, okay? And it will ruin a lot of things. So we cannot square both sides in that instance. So having cleared that, how do we now solve inequalities of those sorts? So that is what will now bring us to the question of the day. So somebody should help me. Maybe you type the question, that question that is our bone of contention. The one that, okay, let me see if I can get it. Get it here. So Esther, please unmute yourself and maybe dictate that question for me, please. The one you sent to the group. Okay. So do you still have it?
Okay, sir. Is it this? 2 absolute value of 1 minus x.
Absolute value of 1 minus x.
Yes, sir. Minus 3. So there's 2 at the front of the absolute value of 1 minus x.
Okay. This one is the one that is less than 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't let us do this one, because this one is just, we just need to square both sides on this one and we'll get the answer.
Okay, there's the one that is less than 1.
The one of less than 1 is what I want to have. Okay.
Okay, sir. Absolute value of 2 minus x.
2 minus x.
Minus. Yes, sir. Minus 2. Absolute value of x plus 1.
Okay.
Less than 1.
Less than 1. Thank you very much. So you can go back to mute. Okay. So like I said, the first thing I will always do for cases like this is to change this guy. So for convenience sake, they are equal. So I'll change it to absolute value of x minus 2 minus 2 absolute value of x plus 1 less than 1. Okay. Then the next thing now is to now consider all the cases. Okay. So we have 2 absolute values and both of them have their own definitions. So for x plus 1, let's start with x plus 1. For x plus 1, if we want to define it from what we said about definition of absolute value function, it is going to be positive when what? When x is greater than or equal to minus 1. Okay, from what we said earlier. So maybe I should write it here first. So absolute value of x plus 1 is going to be original x plus 1, the positive one, when x is greater than or equal to minus 1. Where did I get minus 1? Minus 1 is the 0 of x plus 1. It is equal to minus x plus 1 when x is less than minus 1. I hope we are together. Then the second one, x minus 2, absolute value of x minus 2 is original x minus 2. Don't mind me, original. When x is greater than or equals to 2, and negative of x minus 2 when x is less than 2. Okay, so we have seen that we have seen two zeros here, and they are the ones that will determine what type of answers we are going to have, because we know that the minus 1 above and below tells us what happens to x plus 1. Then 2 tells us, above and below tells us what happens to this second one. Okay, so and that is why we are going to consider what is happening at each of those three regions that is formed by these two zeros. Now note, it is not compulsory that you draw a table to do this. I have just decided, if you checked any of the solutions I dropped, I have just decided to use a table so that I can see what is happening, at once. Ordinarily, I can do it as piecewise functions. I can write it as something that looks like this, as a bracket. But drawing it in tabular form makes everything looks clear to me. I am seeing everything in front of me. Okay, so it makes my work easier. So let me shift this up. Absolute value of x minus 2 minus 2, absolute value of x plus 1 less than 1. So let me clean every other thing. So I now know the two zeros, which are minus 1 and 2. They have divided the number line into three different regions. So they are the regions that I want to examine now. So I know that each of the absolute value function acts on, they act differently within those three regions. Like I said, again, it is not compulsory you draw a table. You can just say case 1. Okay? When x is less than minus 1. Case 2, when x is greater than minus 1 or less than 2, that is minus 1. This is the question. This is the question itself. We have not gone far. We have just started. This is the question. Okay, so minus 1 less than or equal to x less than 2. Then finally, case 3, what happens to these two guys when x is greater than or equal to 2? So in interval notation, the first one is minus infinity to minus 1. The second one that will be a closed interval, 1, 2, minus 1, 2. And the third one will be 2, infinity. Okay, so let us now start. So when we look at absolute value of x minus 2, what happens to absolute value of x minus 2 when we are in the region of x that is less than minus 1? So I want people to tell us, is it going to be positive or negative at the region when x is equals to minus 2, when x is less than minus 1? Is absolute value of x minus 2 going to be positive or negative? So I want people to comment on the chat box. So absolute value of x minus 2, is it positive or negative? So yes, thank you. It is negative. Thank you. Negative. So I hope everybody understands why it is negative. Okay, because we said absolute value of x minus 2 is defined. Okay, that's what I want to explain now. Is defined as follows. Is defined as original x minus 2. Don't mind my original. X minus 2, that is positive x minus 2, when x is greater than or equal to 2, and it is equals to negative of x minus 2 when x is less than 2. Where am I saying the 2? It is from this x minus 2 equals to 0, x is equals to 2. Okay, the same way so we know that absolute value of x minus 2 for any number that is less than 2, any number that is less than 2, for any x that is less than 2, it is going to be negative. It is only going to be positive when x is greater than or exactly equals to 2. Okay, so in that region where x is less than minus 1, x minus 2 will be negative. So that's why I'm going to write. So I want to rewrite this question now without writing the absolute value. So what I'm going to be writing in place of them will depend on what they will be in these individual regions. So for the first one now, it is going to be minus x minus 2, because x is less than minus 1 in that region. Okay, then minus 2. So for this x plus 1 now, is it positive or negative in this new region? In this x is less than minus 1 region, is it positive or negative? Anybody? Chizoba, what do you think? Is it positive or negative? Yeah. I want us to answer that. Okay. So it is going to be negative. Let me explain why it is going to be negative. Okay, thank you. Let me explain why it is negative. So we are considering x plus 1 now. X plus 1. In what region? Region of x is less than minus 1. How did we define absolute value of x plus 1? Absolute value of x plus 1 is positive x plus 1 when x is greater than or equals to minus 1. Okay, and it is negative when x is less than minus 1. Okay, so if that is the case, anytime we are at the region x is less than minus 1, okay, x plus absolute value of x plus 1 will be negative, and that is what we play out here. I hope everybody understands that. So I'm going to write my negative of x plus 1. So Morpheus. Okay, so ask your question, please. Very quickly. Yeah, good evening. Please go ahead and ask your question. Hello? 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 Oh, so I think I should continue. Since maybe his network is not really good. Okay, so let me continue. So it is negative x plus 1 because in that region x is less than minus 1, and we already know the definition of absolute value of x plus 1. The definition of absolute value of x plus 1, okay, the definition of absolute value of x plus 1 is that it is positive when x is greater than or equal to minus 1, and negative when x is less. So at that region when x is less than minus 1, we are going to have minus of x plus 1. I have just been notified now that the meeting will be ended in the next few minutes. So as usual, I thought I'll be able to do it in one batch before. So as usual, once it winds out, so just join in back automatically. So Morpheus, you still want to ask your question? Okay. So do you already understand the concept now? Okay. Oh yeah, very quickly.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead with your question.
About the question we are solving.
Yes.
So the absolute value of x plus 1.
Yes.
So you said when you were explaining one of the absolute value of x minus 2.
Okay.
You said x minus to 0, then x equals to
2.
X equals to 2.
Yes.
So now I was now thinking when you explained just now that you said x minus 1 equals to 0. That means x equals to 1.
Yes,
right?
But it is x plus 1 we are dealing with. Oh. X plus 1 is equals to 0. So that means x is equals to minus 1.
So now under the rules for the absolute value,
yes.
You said x, the first one says x is greater than or equals to minus 1.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And this one, x is less than
minus 1.
Yes. So since x equals to minus 1, why can't it be positive?
Since x is what?
Since the x we said just now that you said the x equals to minus 1. You said x plus 1 because we are dealing with x plus 1.
Yes. Okay, let me explain it again. Maybe you're not getting what I said. So I'm saying the absolute value of x plus 1 can have two values. The two values are positive x plus 1 and negative x plus 1. When is it going to be positive x plus 1? It's going to be positive x plus 1 when x is greater than or equal to minus 1. Okay? So the reason why I set x plus 1 equals to 0 is for you to know where I got that minus 1. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Okay? So if x is greater than minus 1, you have positive x plus 1. And x is less than minus 1, you have negative of x plus 1. I hope it is clear now. Okay. So we will continue now before they log us out automatically.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll continue now. So we understand what is happening there. Let me screenshot this. Okay. So view, then go back to this guy. Okay, so we have seen that x minus 2 is negative, and x plus 1 is also negative when x is less than minus 1. So we just finish that line up, which is less than 1. Okay, and for the second column now, we are in a column where x is greater than or equal to minus 1, but x is still less than 2. X is less than 2. So for absolute value of x minus 2, will it be positive or negative? So I want people's answer in the chat room. So absolute value of x minus 2, will it be positive in that second column or not? So it is going to be negative. Yeah, it's going to be negative because in that region we are still less than 2. And if you check the definition of absolute value of x minus 2 that we wrote here, when x is less than 2, absolute value of x minus 2 is actually negative of x minus 2. Okay, so and that is why we are going to go with minus x minus 2. That is for the first one. So for the second one, minus 2, then so absolute value of x plus 1, will it be negative here now or positive? Will it be negative here now or positive? Absolute value of x plus 1, it will be positive. Thank you. It will be positive. Why is it positive? It is positive because we are now in a region where x is greater than or equal to minus 1. So there's going to be a positive there. So we have plus, into bracket x plus 1. Then we now say less than 1. Okay? And for the third column, absolute value of x, we are now in a region where x is greater than or equals to 2. So in this region, I want to believe you are all aware that both of them will be positive, because both of them are now in a case where guaranteed. So we have x minus 2 minus 2x plus 1 is less than 1. Okay, we will now start solving each of these inequalities to get the answer. That is the next step after examining what they are in each of those regions. So for this first one now, is the same thing as 2 minus x, okay, minus, okay, let me go back. So this was what was there before. Then if I clean this, that will be 2 minus x. Then minus times minus is actually plus, so I can clean that and write plus 2 into bracket x plus 1 less than 1. Okay, yeah, of course you can screenshot. Why not? You can the whole thing will even go off very soon. Okay, so then this will become 2 minus x, then plus 2x plus 2 less than 1. So 2x minus x, that is x. 2 plus 2, that is 4. So x plus 4 is less than 1, from which you can say x is less than 1 minus 4, which is minus 3. X is less than minus 3 will be what we are going to get for the first one. For the second one, we can write this as 2 minus x. Then if I open that bracket, I'm going to have minus 2x minus 2 less than 1. So 2 we cancel minus 2, minus x minus 2x, that is minus 3x less than 1. So x is greater than minus 1 over 3. I hope I have not made any mistake there. So please be following it as I'm doing, so you catch any mistake that I've made. So then finally, the last column. Okay. Then